We are currently saying currency swap is not important because currency is just a piece of paper. So why are we focused on a warehouse receipt or a piece of paper instead of focusing on what it is that the world has always traded, which is real money, real value that is in gold and resources? So we're saying to the government of Zimbabwe, start basing the currency of Zimbabwe on your resources, on our gold, on our resource reserves, our lithium reserves, so that what we exchange with the world is what the world needs, real value and not pieces of paper. Because as long as we're going to be trading pieces of paper that are influenced by psychology much more than value, we're always going to be playing on a back foot. African currencies will always be seen as inferior, yet all the resources that are needed by the world are African resources. So why don't we base our trade on the value of our resources and back up our warehouse receipts with what it is that we have in our warehouse, underground, or as our resource store? Because that is how it is that the Middle East was able to create currencies that matter and able to lift their nations up, is that they back their currencies on oil. They back their currencies on the reserves of oil that they carry. Now, we believe that oil is a very important resource, but lithium, gold, platinum, and the resources that Africa has, cassiterite, tantalite, cobalt, those are the resources that actually run industry. Those are the resources that run the machines that need petroleum. So why can't we give those as the same amount of value, if not more value than the oil? And this is what we're trying to.
I have a disagreement here with you about the theory of money, I believe, but we can leave that aside, because the problem is that all of these goods need to be denominated in something, and it's always the piece of paper in the end that then serves as a go-between in order to do the exchange.
But who said that? Because the world has been trading for over 3,000 years without denomination of trade and value through a piece of paper. So when did it start?
You need some denomination in gold or in something, and one piece of it, 2 pieces or 3 pieces of it.
Very good. And that's why I keep saying that we ultimately have to go back to the resource, to the true value. Because this piece of paper that you're talking about actually is worthless. It's created by fiction. It is a fiat currency. It has no value. So it's a piece of paper one country can print over other countries only because either there's psychological importance given to that nation, or more importantly, that nation has forced with its armies to control resources that matter. And the Americans have controlled the fuel. The piece of paper itself has no meaning. The piece of paper itself has no basis. It is the underpinning resource that the Americans control that is giving value to their currency.
Agreed, but it's really important that we can put these numbers into spreadsheets, because banking at the end of the day is nothing else but settling spreadsheets among each other. And then that makes people say, like, okay, sure, if you give me that number in my spreadsheet, then I will say that the goods can come to you, and vice versa. That's why I see a point in it, but I think we would need more time to actually discuss this theory of exchange.
Yes, but if the spreadsheets were all about simply trading what you owe me versus what I owe you, there would be no complications. But the moment we've got speculation, the moment we've got derivatives, the moment we've got gambling with monies on the stock markets and the money markets, that distorts the entire thing, and it does not become what it is that you're saying the whole situation should be all about. And it's that manipulation by greedy people, greedy nations that have no real value, but they continue to create a lot of alchemy in order to control the resources of other nations, is where we have a problem. Hence, some of us are saying, let's bring it back to basics to avoid a situation where other people utilize mechanisms, gambling and leverage to gain control of what it is that doesn't belong to them in the first place, because that changes the whole purpose of that ledger, and that it changes the whole purpose of I owe you and you owe me. Because now,
no, absolutely agreed. But it's really fundamental that there's different theories of what money is and how money works. And depending on what you believe, you will have completely different preferences of what the state should do. So it is a very important issue, actually. I subscribe to modern monetary theory, but because the West actually tried for a century now to do neocolonialism by selling the idea that, just use our currency and everything is fine.
But that is the problem with modern economic theory and modern monetary theory, is that it is a Western system. It is a Western system created by nations that had no resources that is being imposed on the world. And that's why some of us do not feel that is the best system of exchange. Because what we are doing at the end of the day is we are not exchanging. We're actually creating mechanisms of gambling to create a financial system that doesn't work for Africans. And so we need a theory that's going to be created by anybody other than the Western theory, because the Western theory is failing currently, and it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with you. We need to think about mechanisms that work, and also take the stranglehold away. But that's probably going to be the subject of another video, because Rutendo, I've been taking up already so much of your time. Is there anything that you still would like to add to the viewers?
I think at the end of the day, this perspective that I'm giving is a new perspective. We have an intellectual deficit in the global intellectual sphere and academic sphere, where the views and perspective are always Eurocentric. It is always the European perspective. And even when people like me have something to say about the sanctions, about the world order, about the illegalities of Western system, we never get heard, because the Western system has a way of silencing and sidelining voices that are critical of its system. But when you have a system that is immune to critique, immune to adjustment, it becomes a system that cannot survive or evolve. And this is why it's very important that we get to this point right now, where other voices need to start being heard in the academic sphere for us to come up with new thoughts, which is why right now you talked about the financial system. And I brought the aspect that the financial system is a Western financial system that is toxic and inimical to the world. It's a perspective you would never have, and you would never think of a theory outside the current system if you didn't hear the third world perspective that says we cannot continue to use this gambling system. We need something else. Only when we open up to each other and listen to other ideas and alternative ideas, and we stop having a Eurocentric ideas-based system, can we start creating something evolutionary that is evolving, that is changing, and that could potentially benefit the whole of humanity. Because remember, the third world is not out to try and take over from the West. We are saying humanity has to coexist, work together for the benefit of humanity and for the evolution of humanity. Right now, with the Western-centric system, we're either going to die because of a lack of resources, pollution, global warming, or nuclear implosion, mutual assured destruction. We've got to retrace our steps and relook at other models that are not just about dominance and the Machiavellian system of existence.
I thank you for these words, which I full-heartedly support. Rutendo, we will speak soon again.
Thank you so much.